Just read what you see on the cue cards, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Here we go. Ready? And action!
Sure. You probably shower every day. But even if you didn't, no one would know. Not if... Not if you use new Machismo scented 7 days deodorant shower gel. That's protection.
Hey there, fellow nostalgia nerds. Today, we're hopping into our DeLorean and taking a trip back to the 80s and early 90s to revisit one of the most iconic sitcoms and one of my personal favorites of all time, Who's the Boss? Whether you grew up watching the Masellis and the Bowers, or you're just discovering this gem, this is the ultimate and great throwback sitcoms. Premiering in 1984, Who's the Boss turned sitcom conventions upside down. Who's the Boss actually did something that no show before them truly tried, and that was flipping the gender roles. Usually in most things, you had the man as the breadwinner, and the woman was the housewife sort of thing. But in Who's the Boss, it flipped. Angela was the breadwinner, and Tony was the housekeeper. So sit back, relax. It's time to take another ride on some things you may not have known about Who's the Boss.
Macho Man Randy Savage, the cream of the crop.
Yards! He scores! The Bulls lead 80.
Girl, your hair's so nappy, Wilson couldn't pick it.
This is Max Headroom.
Are you kidding?
At 10, name change. Did you know Who's the Boss wasn't the original title? Nope. It was supposed to be called You're the Boss, with no question mark.
Morning.
May I help you?
Well, if you're Angela Bauer, I'm here to help you.
According to Alyssa Milano, who played Samantha on the show's title originally wasn't conceived as a question, but as an affirmation. In her 2010 memoir entitled Safe at Home, Confessions of a Baseball Fanatic, she recalled when she auditioned for her role as Samantha, the series was supposed to be called You're the Boss, not Who's the Boss. Can you all imagine the series under that name at this point? You're the Boss? Sometimes just through fate, things work out the way it's supposed to be. I can't imagine the series being called anything else. By the way, they also asked Alyssa Milano who was the real boss, and you know what she said? Mona. I agree. Wholeheartedly, I agree. At 9, Mona was supposed to be Angela's sister.
Well, Angela, you dropped him. I picked him up. Finders, keepers, losers, weepers.
Oh, well, that's real mature, Mother. I saw him first, and I've got dibs.
Late actress Katherine Hellman played Angela Bauer's free spirit mother Mona in the series, but her role was initially thought of as being Angela's older sister instead. According to executive producer Martin Cohan, the production was looking for the right actress to play the older sister, but since they never found the right person, they opted to turn the character into Angela's mother to cast Hellman specifically for the role. I'm so glad they didn't go with the Angela sisters concept, and I'm gonna tell you why. What makes it unique is the back and forth kind of almost mini competition that happens between Angela and Mona in certain situations. It's like you wouldn't think you would be competing with your mother, but Mona was so full of life and she was just so full of spunk and spark that it just made it so good. Whoever decided that was really, really, really on point and really had their finger on the pulse. I love it. I enjoyed it. I told y'all, this is one of my favorite shows, so I can watch this over and over again like I've just seen it. At 8, the show's house is really in Rye, New York. The opening credits of Who's the Boss show the establishing shot of a dreamy suburban home where the show's story supposedly takes place, although it's not actually placed where the series was shot. The house is real and it still exists. The house is located at 35 Onondaga Street in Rye, New York, just about 26 and a half miles away from the show's fictional setting in Fairfield, Connecticut. The fictional street address, though, was 334 Oak Hills Drive. I'm sure all of you super fans remember that one. This is one of those iconic houses that as a child, I dreamed of living in. This one, the Full House one, and the Cosby Show one. Those houses I kind of always dreamed of living in. And I can imagine that the people who really own this house constantly get drive-bys of their house. That I would not want. That I would not just want rogue fans on my lawn every day because they're like, oh, it's the Who's the Boss house. But the upkeep of the house and the house itself is still in very great shape. And it is definitely one of the iconic TV houses we've ever seen. At 7, the show inspired a British copycat? The success of Who's the Boss prompted the creation of a British version of the show, titled The Upper Hand, which ran from 1990 to 1996 on the ITV network. It starred Diana Weston, Joe McGann, and Laura West. And when I tell you copycat, I mean copycat. Check this out.
I still say you're making a big mistake, Tony. How could you leave New York, huh?
Triborough Bridge. Hey, look, Miss Rosini, you gotta admit, this neighborhood is falling apart. I mean, look at Samantha. When she starts coming home with black eyes, I think it's time for me to get out.
Hey, that's because there were 3 of those guys there. And anyway, I got one guy sneezing out of his ear.
How are you going to support yourself, huh?
Oh, hey, Miss Rosini, I got a great job at a great place. It's all green with picket fences.
But you always said you love New York.
Yeah, but I love my daughter a lot more. Hey, Miss Rosini, take care of yourself, okay?
You too, Tony.
Bye-bye.
But I'm telling you, you're going to miss the heartbeat of the city. The excitement. The culture.
Hey, shut up down there. I'm trying to sleep.
Hey, go sit on your hard hat.
But Mrs. Riley, you've got to admit this area is going to the dogs. When Joanna starts coming on with a black eye, it's time for us to move out.
That's because there were 3 of them, Dad. And I got one of them sneezing out of his ear.
So, how are you going to support yourself?
Don't worry. I've got a great job in a great place. It's all fresh air, green grass, green fields, green trees. Well, you know, it's very green.
And I thought you loved London.
Yeah, I do. I love my daughter more. You take care, eh, Mrs. Riley?
You too, Charlie.
Bye.
You are a Londoner, Charlie. You're going to miss the heartbeat of the city. The community spirit and the friendly neighbors.
Shut up down there! I'm trying to get to sleep.
Bye, Charlie. We'll miss you.
Okay. I am all for shows that happen off of inspiration. To directly just steal from a show, that's ridiculous. They stole almost word for word, line for line. And if you look this show up, it is directly a carbon copy of Who's the Boss. But you know what they say, right? Imitation is the highest form of flattery. And boy, they must have been severely flattered. At 6, Tony Danza almost went to jail.
A toast to...
Let's go. Come on, pal. Let's go.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You have no idea who I am. I am Vice President of Wallace and McQuaid.
In 1984, just 2 days before Who's the Boss debuted, Danza, its main star and producer, got involved in a fight with a bouncer at a New York City hotel and was arrested facing jail time. Fortunately, the actor's lawyer managed to convince the judge to sentence Danza to 250 hours of community service, arguing that imprisoning him was going to affect the production of the upcoming series. Must be nice to be a celebrity, eh? Ooh. Close call, everybody. Close call. You were one judge's decision away from not making history. And let this be a lesson to us all that sometimes we have to be cognizant of the decisions we're making because it could affect the entire rest of your life. I can imagine this show not coming out because Tony was in the slammer. 5, a beautiful actress debuted in a spinoff. And we guess? Yeah, have you seen? That's right, Halle Berry. This was her acting debut. Now, most of us know that Who's the Boss inspired 2 unfortunately failed spinoffs. One was named Charmed Lives. The other was named Living Dolls. Living Dolls focused on a group of young models living together. For those of you familiar with the rap song, you know what I'm about to say. For those of you who are not, sit back and hold on. Halle Berry, Halle Berry. Yes, Miss Halle Berry got her start here. She went on to have an illustrious career after this. But it just goes to show you and give us all a little bit of hope. See, back here in these days, it was kind of like the magical days where anything can happen sort of thing. She became an Oscar winner off of a failed series. Good job, Miss Berry. Fantastic. At 4, the theme song was sang by 3 different singers.
There is more to life than what you're living. So take a chance and face the wind. An open road and a road that's hidden. Brand new life around the bend. There were times I lost a dream or two. I found a trail, and at the end was you. There's a path to take and a path not taken. The choice is up to you, my friend. Nights are long, but you might awaken to a brand new life, brand new life, a brand new life around the bend.
Larry Weiss was the first to record the song Brand New Life, which was written by producers Cohen and Hunter. This version was used for the first 3 seasons. Then Steve Werner did a version of the song that was used from seasons 3 to 5, followed by Jonathan Wolf, whose version was used from seasons 5 until the end of the series. You know what? I gotta be honest. I didn't even notice this until I got older. Didn't even notice. Honestly, didn't even care. I love the theme song and can still sing it to this day. I didn't care who was singing it. I guess it was close enough for me that I was trying to get to the show. Like, it all sounded the same to me, but apparently it wasn't. So shout out to those 3 gentlemen who made these tracks. You have definitely made a serious impression on my childhood, and I'm sure the childhood of many of you out there. At 3, Tony and Angela became a couple purely for ratings.
I will have crunchy crawlers.
Crunchy crawlers are empty calories. Not really satisfying. In an hour, you're going to want something else.
Maybe I'll want more crunchy crawlers.
Despite the evident attraction that existed between the 2 leading characters and the great on-screen chemistry between actors Danza and Light, it wasn't until the 8th and final season when Tony and Angela finally became a couple. The decision to do so was made because of the declining ratings the series received on season 7, and the producers thought it could save the show from cancellation, but the ratings failed to improve and the series was wrapped up. You know what I think happened here? Honestly, I think they waited too long. It's like when you over-anticipate something, I think they should have got them together a lot earlier and then focused on their relationship from there on in. I think the show probably would have lasted a little longer, but I think by the time season 7 came, they were kind of tired of the near misses of Tony and Angela not getting together. And it was certainly an emotional roller coaster. It was for me back then. I can imagine adults who were into the series was tired of the back and forth at that point in time. At 2, Tony and Angela's adoptive son got the boot.
Turns out that Mrs. Napoli's worse off than they thought, and she's not going to be able to take care of Billy anymore.
Oh, no. Oh, my word. Oh, that's terrible. That poor woman. Poor Billy.
Tell me about it.
Well, after all these years, why did she ask you of all people?
Alan Thicke is tied up. I don't know.
In season 7, Tony adopts the late neighbor's grandson, Billy Napoli, and he and Angela struggled with co-parenting a little child again. But in the following and final season, the character was just gone. The decision was made by the showrunners when they opted to turn Tony and Angela into a couple and thought that the presence of a young child was going to take attention away from the romance. What the hell happened to Billy? What happened to Billy? They just kicked Billy to the curb. Billy was there one day, and I liked Billy. Billy was there one day, and one day Billy wasn't. Unfortunately, when we start trying to make these moves to save a series and do this, and we start having to pander to the ratings and the audience, you get moves like this. Now, I guess if I'm honest, Billy didn't bring anything show-stopping to Who's the Boss, so he was kind of disposable. But to just write him off with no explanation fully, like, where the heck is Billy? Who's taking care of him? I don't know if I agree with that one. And I think it was just one of the very few speed bumps that show had. At 1, Tony Danza finally becomes a star. Let me explain. The late legendary singer and actor Frank Sinatra guest starred in the series, playing himself in season 5's episode 16, with Tony trying to meet Sinatra, who happens to be his idol. In real life, Tony Danza's mother was a huge fan of Sinatra, and she told her son that she was only going to consider him a star if he introduced her to Sinatra. Danza finally introduced Sinatra to his mother in 1989 when the singer shot the episode. And according to Tony Danza, Sinatra treated his mother like the Queen of England. Bravo, Mr. Danza. Bravo. If you cared for your mother anything like I cared for mine, I would have done the same thing. I would have moved heaven and earth for her to try to meet her favorite person or favorite celebrity or whatever. And I'm glad you solidified yourself as a star. To me, you had did that probably back in Taxi and a few other things that you were in. But here, I'm sure your mother was super proud and had a super fantastic time that day. Again, I can't tell you great job enough. Kudos, sir. That was fantastic. And it just makes me more of a fan of yours. So that's all we have for today. This walk down memory lane with one of my favorite shows, which is Who's the Boss? Did I cover some things you didn't know? Did I cover some things you did know? Did I leave some stuff out? I'm sure I did, because there's so many more facts, but this video probably would have been 8 hours long if I included them all. So let me know down in the comments, what is your favorite moment and favorite episode from Who's the Boss? I can tell you, one of mine is the machismo scene I started this video off with. I laugh at that. Between that and the bar fight that Angela got into, one of my two favorite episodes. So I would love to know yours. Thank you all for taking the ride with me. I appreciate you all. We're in this together. We are family. This is not my channel. It is our channel. And let's go forward together. But you must do me a favor, if you will. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's bring more people into the family to take this ride with us. Also, you know what to do, right? Love you, love somebody else, and I'll see y'all real soon.